potentially the best mecha fighting game ever, just released earlier today. Welcome to Iron Saga Versus. The newest crossover mecha fighter featuring Mazinger Z, Getter Robo, Dankoga, Great Mazinger, and characters from the Iron Saga mobile game. And when I say potentially the best, I don't mean it with any hyperbole. So let's just get some facts out of the way. During an introductory sale, the game has a $25 base price, with regional pricing, so basically you can get the game for much cheaper depending on your country's economy. Then the game has a rollback netcode, which is something that every fighting game fan asked for up until 2019. But we'll get back to that later. The game has transparent developers who are honest about the game, good tutorials, plenty of options, good performance, and a good amount of content. We live in a world where unfinished fighting games launch at $60, so this offer by comparison is pretty stunning. But there are a couple of caveats, so let's start with the main one. The game is only on PC right now, with console and mobile versions to come at a later date. This is a bit of a blow to the game, since most fighting game players I know play on PlayStation. But what it also means is that the devs can focus on refining the current version of the game so that when the console version does release, it'll be more polished and have relatively more content. And the current roadmap of the game confirms 4 more DLC characters, with Shin Getter Robo, Mazen Kaiser, Black Getter, and Zio Reimer set to release by the end of the year. But none of this matters without good gameplay though, so let's just get right into that. So the game is definitely what you would expect from a 2D fighter: super meter, timer, quarter circle special moves that kill my thumbs, all that jazz. But if you're expecting something like an anime fighter, that's not what this game is. As a DBFZ warrior, this game humiliated me. I couldn't even beat normal CPUs because my mashing habits kept screwing me up. A lot of fighting games nowadays are based around exploiting hundreds of system mechanics, comeback moves, and all of that. This game's not like that. The developer's main inspiration here is Street Fighter V. So that means that in this game, you need to be a lot more careful about your range and positioning, blocking, and opening enemies up. It's a matter of conditioning and patience. And you really want to wait your own turn to getting your own hits. There's no burst mechanic to help you break out of combos, and in general, the devs put a lot of effort in to make combos shorter so nobody's hands are off the controller for too long. It's a system built around core fighting game fundamentals and mind games. It doesn't hold your hand as much as other modern games, and it expects you to get good. That being said, there are some system mechanics to keep track of. You can use meter for a shield that pushes enemies off of you, an armored reversal, limit break, which you can use to extend combos, and enhanced moves. But that's pretty much it. Another notable thing about the game is how execution heavy it is. There's no auto combos here or easy strings. My advice for you guys is don't focus so hard on combos in practice mode as much as getting some hands-on experience. Play matches, fight hard CPUs even. But the thing that'll make the most difference is that experience. You need to understand when you're going to press your buttons to even get a good combo in the first place. Once you have that figured out, you can pick your main. And honestly, because of how execution heavy this game is, you're probably better sticking off with just one. Then once you get comfortable and know when you're meant to attack, you can start to lab and pull off crazy stuff like this. There are only 12 characters in the game, relatively small for the genre, but it's a pretty varied and great roster, honestly. You might expect gacha devs to only pick generic waifus, but the characters they actually picked here are pretty cool. Saga is like a cool soldier dude. You'll probably connect with his playstyle if you like Full Metal Panic. Kaguya has a sick katana and pyromancy type powers. Nero is a weird vampire that can summon shadow people. Susanoo has dual swords and wind strikes. In summary, these guys are just as cool as the guest characters, and their mech designs are fantastic as well. Then there's the crossover characters, and they're about what you'd expect if you're familiar with their shows. Getter Robo can transform into any of its 3 forms on the fly. Mazinger Z has rocket punches, photon beams, rust hurricane, and a bit of a zoner playstyle. Great Mazinger is like a more mobile, more rushdown version of his older brother. Boss Borot is a joke character, of course. I really didn't expect to see him here, but he fights in unconventional ways. And Dan Koga has like a classic fighting style, incorporating his swords and a lot of throws, and he has like a cannon on his back. It's pretty rad. The neat thing about all these characters, though, is that they're not just limited to one playstyle. They all have secondary and sometimes third arsenals. Basically, several of your moves and one button on your controller change entirely based on which arsenal or which style you pick for each character. You can choose to shoot more missiles and rockets with Mazinger, or you can go for a more photon-based playstyle. There's a lot of room here to personalize every character to be the way you want. There's so much to experiment with, it's just so fun to learn how to play these characters. Unlike a lot of fighting game characters, these guys don't just fit into one archetype each. They want to challenge you and make you learn from playing as them. Next, let's talk about the single-player content. Every character can do a unique arcade campaign mode with a couple of story scenes and unlockable art at the end. And this is where I realized how hard the NPCs are. They genuinely block everything. It's about what you'd expect from other fighting games, but a neat quality of life feature in this is that you can exit out of one arcade campaign and enter into another on the fly without losing any progress. It's quick and really just feels great. Other than that, there's Simulacrum mode. This is similar to arcade mode, but each battle is based around a 3-star objective. You get more rewards for S ranking each stage. And that's pretty much it other than combo trials, and it's honestly not a lot of single player content. But there is supposed to be a story mode releasing in autumn that looks to be mixing tactical RPG combat with fighting games. So that could make the game much better. In the meantime though, let's move on to the multiplayer. We have lobbies, quick play, and ranked matches, as well as a gachapon.
Oh no!
So yeah, this game has a gacha, and you can 100% bet there will be some rage bait Twitter or Reddit posts about this. Essentially, this is how you get skins and profile customization in the game. You have to spend in-game currency to roll this gacha, but it's completely free, and you get these points by doing in-game challenges. It's just a neat way to reframe the same basic progression that every fighting game has. Anyway, so what you're going to be doing most of the time in this game is just fighting randoms and getting better and better, climbing the ranked leaderboard, stuff like that. Anyone in the community will tell you that that's the draw, and it is pretty fun once it works, that is. So it's still day one when I'm recording this, and this is just early impressions, so it could change, but me and pretty much everyone else in the game's official Discord could barely play any matches. First of all, right after the game released, barely anyone was online. I assume not many people know that this game exists yet, and there's no crossplay yet. Then once you actually do get some matches, there's a big disconnecting problem. Almost every single match I had ended in a disconnect. When you do actually get it to work, the game feels fantastic. There's not a lot of input lag, and it works just perfectly. But when you're disconnecting half the time, you don't get to experience that. You sit there in the lobby for 15 minutes waiting to even get a match, and then it black screens. And there were 0 rooms. If this is how small the community is on launch, the game might only get worse. That's why I say that this is potentially the best mech fighter out there. The gameplay and characters are so well done, as well as the options, the visuals, the music, the variety, and just how consumer friendly it is. But unless the online works and there's a sustainable community, it'll fade into irrelevancy. There's no point in having great characters and great gameplay if there's no one to play it with. The situation is progressing, so I'll just leave a pinned comment if it gets better. So let's end off this video with the question, should you get Iron Saga Versus? I think the answer is yes, if you love fighting games and super robots. It's a very reasonable deal and honestly a no-brainer in that case. I also think that this could be a great game for you if you're just an FGC fan. While the online is flawed right now, it will likely get fixed at some point. This game respects you for your effort, and I think local tournaments will be amazing. And then there's the third camp. If you're a casual, maybe you like robots a little bit, and you're just looking for something random to play, I don't think that this game is for you. Mortal Kombat 11 and Injustice 2 are still the kings of fighting game single player. I think you'll get some time out of it, but I don't think you'll love it. But that's it for my first impressions. I'm going to keep playing the game and I'll keep you guys updated, but I just wanted to get an early video out there because the game just came out and it's a pretty interesting time. Let me know what you guys think and feel free to sub if you want to see more mecha content like this. God bless y'all. Peace.